So this is one of them over here. This is another one. Can you click on
I
that one,
like this
Jules?
one.
The sloth.
This is my favorite
Can you
one.
click on it? There we go. So
Mhm.
this is the slow sloth. I was just standing in the gym bathroom looking down at this thing, and I decided that I must take a photo of it. It must have been really weird for everybody though that I was taking a photo of the of the urinal, but at that point it's like, what do you want from me? I was high, I was at the gym, I was having a good time. What's the worst that could happen? So I took a photo of the
What do
urinal.
you
Who
do?
cares?
Do you do that thing where you like look at cars and like make faces out of the cars? I do that
Yes.
all the time.
Yes, I make faces out of the cars, out of actually my favorite thing to make faces out of is the granite tiles in my bathroom. So every time I take a shower, I see some usual characters. Like I already have some usual characters that I just got used to seeing all the time, and I give them certain identities, I give them certain, backstories sometimes, and eventually what I want to do, in fact, I have this artwork too that I'm going to send to Jules to pull up later, some of it, and I just draw whatever it is I think that they are, and there's no end to them. Like everywhere I look in the granite
Yeah.
tiles, there's always going to be a new character popping out.
When I was in grade school, we went to mass every week, and our carpet in our church was like modeled. Like I guess that's the best way you could put it. It was like, I don't know, multicolored carpet, but like each stitch was like a slightly different color. And I used to just zone out staring at it and like make patterns and faces. It was pretty cool. It was a good way to pass the time.
I think a lot of talk of like machine elves is much like this. Like when
Yeah.
Terrence McKenna talks about being on a ton of mushrooms, and he's like he's seeing entities. They're not physically there, but they're like peeking out through the folds in reality. I think there's a lot like that. And it's like creating an egregore too.
Yeah.
If I'm saying that right.
I
Same
like.
way
Egregore?
Chris Chan does it.
Egregore.
Wait, Chris
Surely.
Chan says it as egregore.
Oh, Chris Chan doesn't know that word. Neither do I. Who the fuck knows how to say that? I read it a couple times.
Interesting. I know that Chris Chan has the idea of this dimensional merge that's going to happen soon, where the world of CWCville, Quickville, is going to merge with the real world.
It's already upon us.
It's all OCs, my friend. Your fucking bathroom sloth is like among us.
Well, this is like, I don't want to spoil anything for people who have not read the manga Berserk. I mean, it's still an ongoing thing, but I would point out that that is an example of the world of fantasy, like fairies, elves, a lot of these things merging together with our world, where there was a very interesting book that I read called Daimonic Reality by Patrick Harpur. I recommend everybody to look at it, and it talked about experiences that people would have when they see like the Virgin Mary, and they see the Virgin Mary in places that the older generations of people who were pagans used to frequent, like this spring, and it was a fertility goddess. She looked the
Is that
same.
like Lords?
It was no, it wasn't Lords. It was just like in some other places. Maybe it was Lords too, but I'm not sure. But the interesting thing for me about this whole thing is this Virgin Mary, as they call it, was before just a fertility goddess, and she looked no different than the fertility goddess did. People just assume she's the Virgin Mary because she's this young, beautiful girl, and they don't know who else she might be. So sure, she's the Virgin Mary.
I like the theory that that ties in. I don't remember the name of the guy or the book, but he tied in ancient fairy myths to like modern day alien myths.
He was doing the same thing. Patrick Harpur,
Yeah.
he was also touching on that.
It might be the same guy.
Yeah, like it's very interesting, right? Like when you have these creatures who, some of them look like you were saying, like with the big heads, some of them look like little gremlins, and other people look like the Nordics, like with this big blonde hair.
Alistair, the Nordics are very interesting, but I like what Alistair Crowley, he drew that picture of that entity he was in communication with, and it looked like a gray alien.
Lamb, exactly.
Lamb, yes, lamb.
Yeah, it's
and also you have what is it, Elisa Lamb, and that ties into that as well. Are you familiar with this, with Elisa Lamb?
No, who's Elisa Lamb?
She disappeared in a hotel. The last video was her freaking out in an elevator, like she was tripping out or something.
Yeah, and then they found, so they found her. She was missing for like 3 weeks or something, and they found her dead, floating in the water tank on top of the hotel, and people had been like using and drinking that water. So somehow she made it on top of the roof of the hotel into the water tank, where she subsequently died. And then people reported like, hey, my water tastes weird. And they found her dead body floating up in it.
Wow.
And also she went missing in like Toronto, I think it was some Canadian city, and there might have been, no, it was San Francisco or San Diego, and there was a tuberculosis outbreak. It was wherever Skid Row is, and there was a tuberculosis outbreak amongst the homeless in Skid Row. And one of the drugs that they were using in Skid Row to treat these tuberculosis was Lam Elisa. It was an acronym, and it said it was Lam Elisa.
Another weird thing about that case is that years prior, there was a Japanese horror movie called Dark Water, which was like the exact same plot, which it was remade in English too.